As Johnny Depp's defamation case against Amber Heard nears its conclusion, some men who claim to have been victims of domestic violence point to a pivotal moment in the trial that they believe changed what it means to be a male survivor. Johnny has apparently become a sign of inspiration for men who are seeking help but are shunned by society. So how has Johnny's presence in the trial changed things for men? Keep watching to find out. Despite outdated stereotypes about what a real victim should look like on the internet, which some experts say could have a chilling effect on survivors, some men and male-presenting people who have survived violent relationships, as well as experts who work with survivors, say the trial feels like a watershed moment in the stigma against male survivors. According to Mimi Sterling, CEO of The Family Place, a Dallas-based resource center and shelter for family violence survivors, some social work training outlines the belief that men can experience domestic violence like women based on the power dynamic. It's just not acceptable in our society for men to be victimized in this way, Sterling explained. Survivors are still subjected to an age-old stigma. Witnessing a powerful man publicly admitting to domestic violence lifted a weight off Jack's shoulders. To protect his privacy, Jack, a survivor of domestic abuse, requested that NBC News refer to him by his middle name: domestic violence, sexual abuse, and childhood abuse. He claimed that he remained silent for many years because he was embarrassed. Mr. Depp is actually brave enough to speak out. I would have felt humiliated telling the public that my 5'2" ex used to beat the crap out of me, Jack said, adding that after watching Depp's testimony, he was finally able to open up to friends about what he had gone through. Feelings of humiliation are just one aspect of the stigma that has kept so many men from sharing their stories, according to Sterling. Raven Jennerson, interim clinical director for the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and a licensed independent clinical social worker, believes that all people, including victims, must work to relearn what it means to be masculine and how a masculine person should behave in a domestic violence situation. Experts say stereotypes about how men should act and cope with violent partners, particularly in heterosexual relationships, are inaccurate and cause more victims to remain silent. We want people to understand that there is no such thing as a perfect survivor, Jennerson stated. Perfection is relative. Sterling agreed with Jennerson, saying that the stigmas have led to less research and fewer resources for male survivors. Jennerson also stated that while Rain has seen an increase in reporting rates from other gender identities, men continue to lag behind. Men who have experienced domestic violence say Depp has opened the door for men and male-presenting survivors to share their stories on social media. For some survivors, the seemingly unending online support for Depp and the litany of scorn for Heard has felt like vindication and justice from afar, a proxy victory over their abusers. Searching the terms "I'm a survivor" and Johnny Depp on Twitter yields thousands of tweets from victims describing how empowered they felt as a result of Depp's case. There's a lot of male survivors of abuse out there talking about their experiences because of Johnny Depp. Canadian writer, producer, and YouTuber Leanna Kersner tweeted, later adding, "Women are not default victims. Men are also abused. I'm a survivor and I support Johnny Depp because what happened to him happened to me," wrote another. The same level of depravity and malicious intent. As a DV survivor, a male victim, I'm disgusted that media is catering to Amber, said another. I lost years of my life and I still have panic attacks, nightmares, and the feeling that I'm in the wrong. And while the case is a civil defamation suit in which no one faces criminal charges or jail time, the support is enough for some. I would never fight back because I would never want to be in Mr. Depp's position, Jack said, fearing that if I did, his former partner would accuse him of being the aggressor. Now that he's come forward, it allows me and others to say, I too have been abused by a domestic partner. Some experts argue that hearing a man say that he is a victim of domestic abuse in a public setting during a high-profile trial could have long-term consequences. It often takes high-profile cases, high-profile victims of anything, to achieve the critical change in our society and change in perspective, Sterling said. According to Sterling, the Family Place in Texas only sheltered that serves only male and male-presenting survivors of domestic abuse. A team leader reported to Sterling that when residents of the shelter were asked about the Heard Depp trial, they said they felt validated and heard. Having a landmark case like this serves a greater purpose, in a way, of normalizing the conversation and raising awareness around the fact that men absolutely can be victimized, as well as awareness around what the victimization and abuse looks like, Sterling said. Sterling said she can't can't say whether the Depp case will increase male reporting statistics, but she believes that the more there is a national conversation about domestic abuse and how it affects men, the more people will come forward. It's terrible that it's playing out in an international stage, she added, saying, I hope that some of the benefits come from victims saying, yeah, this is the problem. I have to get out. What do you think of Mr. Depp's new image as a role model? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.